All right. Hey, everybody. Just going to wait a minute here for my guest tonight to arrive. I know there has been some anticipation around this. I've had people asking me all kinds of questions, so I'm really excited to do this. It always just takes a minute for everything to connect, and as soon as we do that, I will be able to bring my guest Sean on camera, which is going to be awesome. And we are going to be talking all about Bitcoin mining. If you don't know anything about this, it is a very, very exciting topic. It is something that if you're interested in cryptocurrency and making money in cryptocurrencies at all, this is something you should definitely be aware of. So I know he's sharing the video in different places and jumping on as well. So just going to give it one more second here. And let's see. Not seeing it yet. Facebook Live just likes to take a few minutes to connect everything. Let me see if I can. I'm going to invite Sean to watch and see if we can get that to work. All right. Got lots of views going. Hey, Robert. Good to see you. And, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to add to camera. Good to see you on here. It looks like everything is connecting. Hey.
Hey, Nicole.
Awesome. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Sweet. So the people are waiting. Very excited to do this interview. So maybe I'll just do a quick little introduction. So, you know how Facebook makes the world very small now. So I met Sean through a friend from another crypto group that I was in, and it just kind of all happened at once. So he's been super helpful to me. He's really been the catalyst for getting as involved in mining as I have been. So I might just let you start by introducing yourself and maybe how you got involved in this space.
Sure. So cryptocurrencies came into my life around December of 2016, and I'd say it was at the perfect time. And I'll explain why. A year prior to that, my son was born. So I'm just a regular guy, grew up in the system. And what I mean by that is I was, getting good grades in school. I went through the system, got my job, thought I was going to work that job 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, and then retire on some sort of pension or retirement fund. But I realized something clicked that, hey, I've been working for 10 years and I never have more than a few $100s in my bank account. I'm always in credit card debt. I've got all these people around me who seem to have done much better for themselves. And why am I stuck? Like, what's going on? And I realized it wasn't just me. And so I started changing my mindset. I started to hang around with different people that have what I want. And that completely, changed my perspective. And this is important because if I would have came across cryptocurrencies with that old mindset, I would have just disregarded it. I would have missed the opportunity to educate myself about it and take action. So that's why the timing was important. So 2016 is when I first started looking into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Because my mindset was there, I identified the trend. I spent massive amount of time on YouTube, 30 hours a week after work, just educating myself. I took plenty of action. Now here I am a year later, able to quit my 9 to 5 after almost 11 years, and be part of this space, and just the future has got so much potential.
Awesome. When did you actually know this was kind of the turning point for you, that this was going to be the direction your future went in?
Well, December 2016, so started to get my foot in the door, started buying cryptocurrencies, started to learn how to secure it, how to send it, and what it meant for the way people will do finance in the future. So I actually came across a video, and this is one that really got me going, is by one of my mentors, Andreas Antonopoulos. It's called "The Stories We Tell About Money." I'll be sure to link that video in the Facebook chat once we end. And if anybody watching this live or on the replay, be sure to look for that link and watch this video. And it'll really open your eyes to, what is money? Because most of us, I didn't really know what money was. I mean, we just use it to buy goods and services, but we don't really know what it is. And this really kind of started everything for me. So after watching that video, and then after seeing what it can do, this new disruptive technology, I just decided, you know what, this is it. This is going to be huge, and I want to be part of this space. I miss the internet, right? Back in the 90s when I used to have AOL CDs to get on the internet for a few hours. I used to get on ICQ and chat with friends at night. I didn't see that trend. I didn't understand how big it would be and how it would transform everybody's lives. Like, look at search engines, social media, Amazon, Toys R Us just is liquidating its stuff now. It's crazy. Like, retail is pretty much out the window. Everything is digital except for a few things. Like, even our money's digital right now, but it's controlled by central parties, and this is going to change things.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's one of the most exciting parts of it, is just owning what's ours for the first time. And if you get lost in Andreas Antonopoulos' YouTube channel, which if you start watching his videos, you will. I think probably one of the things that drew you into is, and I've said this in other videos, is just learning about how, this is great for us, but it's really for the other 6 billion people. It's for the unbanked and underbanked and people who live in places, Sean's in Canada, I'm in the US, in places that aren't as privileged as we are here in these places. So so check out his channel, and if we post the link to that video, it'll link people to other things as well, because it just creates so much belief. And I'm sure that had a big role in you making the decision to quit a job, right?
Yes, because for a lot of people who are now learning about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, you might have heard of it through the media and the hype because of the price. And it's not the price that's really got me hooked. It's more the potential of this disruptive technology, what it can do for financing, what it can do for votes and elections, and pretty much decentralize and take away third party. So we're talking about central authorities like PayPal, banks. We're talking about real estate. If you're in real estate, we won't even need that job anymore because everything can be put on a blockchain. It's immutable. So when you start really looking into what this technology can do, it can disrupt a lot of industries, and I want to be part of that. And to your point, there's about 6 billion people that are unbankable. We take it for granted if we don't live in those countries that we have access to global financial services like a bank account or a credit card. But with this technology now, anybody who has access to the internet and a smartphone, and it's documented that more people have access to an Android phone than clean running water, this will give a lot of people the chance to take part in global peer-to-peer transactions and do anything that they want, and no one can stop them. No one can say no. No one can prevent them from joining this network.
Yeah, I think that's super exciting. So, given that we are living in kind of this first world privilege, we do have a great opportunity to really capitalize on this. And just as you said, I also, was too young to capitalize on the internet in the 90s. But, I believe that the impact of this on the world is going to be bigger than that. It obviously plays on the backbone of the internet, but this is even more powerful in many ways. And so, it's crazy to me not to get involved in some way. And I want to kind of circle back around to that. But maybe if you could just briefly, because I think mining is a simple concept, but it's really confusing when you first hear the term, and it's also an intimidating term. So if you could just maybe briefly explain what cryptocurrency mining is.
Sure. The best way to understand it is if you can remember when credit cards came out, they weren't used by many people, so they weren't popular, and the network wasn't there. The infrastructure, the payment channels for people to use plastic was not there. So over time, as Visa and MasterCard ended up investing in into the network, right? Now it's everywhere, right? You can use your Visa, MasterCard pretty much anywhere. And now they're profiting millions and millions a day because every time a customer goes into retail and swipes their MasterCard or Visa, they're going to take a slight percentage. So for cryptocurrencies to work, it's kind of like the same thing, but without a central authority controlling all of that. It's the infrastructure needs to be laid out. So in order for a peer-to-peer network to exist, it does need to be run by computers, and those computers aren't supplied or provided by just one central party. So Bitcoin mining or cryptocurrency mining just means that you're contributing hardware. So we're talking about just computers, right? Just to keep it simple, just computers, electricity, maintenance like cooling and updates to the hardware. Think about updating your iPhone 5 to the iPhone 6. So we're talking about that type of maintenance. And if you are part of that process, then hey, if down the line, if you think about it, if people are using this payment network in the future, because you are part of building that network, now you can start collecting fees residually because you invested in the network. Just like how Visa and MasterCard are profiting every single day because they have that network, being part of the mining pools of Bitcoin will allow you to profit every day through the transactions that people do on the network. So I hope that makes sense. That's really the easiest way, the best analogy I can share.
Yeah, and when I have conversations with people, I tell them, don't worry, you're not going to be sitting at home in your basement trying to solve math problems all day. Because, at this point, I think most people would agree it's not profitable to try to mine out of your home, right? You want to join a mining pool. That's what you and I do.
Yes. We're long past the days where people can just mine simply from their basement using their computer. There have been a lot of advancements in technology, and it's very competitive because anybody can join the network and contribute that computing power because everybody's contributing the power, but it's harder to collect the rewards if you're not competitive enough. So being in a mining pool allows you to work with others and then share the reward, right? It's not every man for himself. We work as a group, we help secure the network, and we share the rewards.
Yeah, and it's a lot more passive than it initially sounds like as well, which is kind of cool.
I mean, once the hardware is purchased and installed, it runs for you on autopilot, right?
Right, exactly. And so, I think that you and I both believe that mining is one of the best ways to get involved in cryptocurrency and profit off of it. So why do you think that it's one of the best ways to get involved?
Well, right now there's about three ways for you to acquire a cryptocurrency. You can buy it, right? Because it's available out there. You have to buy it from someone that already has it. You can accept a good or a service for it, just like receive a payment. So offer your goods and services in return for cryptocurrency, or you can mine it, right? So, and buying and holding is a good strategy. I mean, we're seeing the price fluctuate. It's a very volatile market simply because it's a new market and only a little percentage of the world is actually using it. So as more people on board and start using it, because of its finite supply, it's not an inflationary currency. That's what causes the price to go up. It's just basic supply and demand. And so as more people join the network and start transacting in this digital currency, the price will eventually stabilize at a point. So that's why getting in early, there's a potential to profit because you're buying it at a lower cost. But eventually when it stabilizes, there will be no more opportunity to profit from it. You'll just be a user. And mining allows you to collect more of it passively because if you buy a Bitcoin today and you hold on to it for 5-10 years, you're still going to have just one Bitcoin in your wallet in 5 to 10 years. Yes, it might have gone up in value, but you still just have one. If you're part of the mining, then you're going to get passive residual Bitcoin coming into your wallet every day because you've invested in the hardware to secure the network. So over the long term, it's going to produce more Bitcoin in your wallet, and it's passive, and it's a great opportunity to acquire some.
Yeah, totally. So if you buy one Bitcoin today for about $10,500 and you hold it, and in 3 years it's worth 100,000, that's a pretty good return. But if you choose to invest in mining instead, and no guarantees, but let's say you mine 3 to 5, that sounds a lot better to me when you go to cash it in, having 3 to 5 versus just one. So it's like you were saying, it's a great way to grow your Bitcoin. And maybe can you talk just about where you see this space headed and why there is limited opportunity to get involved?
Well, when you say limited, I mean to profit, right?
Right. Like,
I believe,
yes.
where I see it going, I see it, from all the research I've done over the last year, from the people that I've surrounded myself with, there is a need for that decentralized technology to come over and take away some of the power of corruption in governments and central banking, uh, which is funding wars and stuff. So I want to get too technical, but there is a lot wrong going on in the world right now, and this technology will disrupt a lot of it, and we'll see a lot of changes. So to profit from the changes, you just have to get in early, because once everything is mainstream, just like the internet, right? Like once social media is live or email, everyone's using it, then you can't profit from it anymore. You're just a user. You'll be, if you want to go on Amazon and they're only accepting digital currencies, you'll have to convert one currency to the other, just like you do now when you go to another country, but you're not profiting because currencies don't really change in value every day. So that's why it's a limited time. It's a very fast moving space. The internet took quite a while to evolve and change the world because the internet wasn't there, right? People couldn't communicate and work together worldwide to build, right? It had to be built. But now that the internet is everywhere, people all around the world can collaborate and progress this space at a much faster rate. So I'm not talking about 10, 20 years here, 5 years maybe, and things are going to change. And so that's why it's time sensitive. You have to identify this trend. You research the heck out of it, and then you just got to take action, and that's how you're going to profit.
Yeah, and I really want to maybe have you stress the urgency piece, right? Because I have obviously a lot of conversations with people about this. It's very rare that I talk to somebody now and they've never heard the word Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or something like that. Yet there's still only 1% of the global population that holds or uses any type of cryptocurrency. So the mass knowledge is starting to happen, yet very few people are still taking action. So why do you think that is?
Well, most people still get their information from the mainstream media, right? And mainstream media will have you think that cryptocurrency is for drug addicts, prostitution, and funding illegal terrorism. So that's the problem. Going back to the beginning of the conversation about your mindset, where you get your information from, who you hang around with, that's really important. If I was still getting my information from mainstream media, I would have probably disregarded this information when it was presented to me on a platter last year, just saying, hey, what is this? I wouldn't have seen it as an opportunity. So I believe that's why it hasn't adopted so as fast, because the information that's spread mainstream isn't quite accurate. You have to get away from the Fox business, because I've seen a few of those analysts and those reporters, and they don't have any idea. They don't. So you just gotta, if you're watching mainstream news, make sure you unplug from that, and listen to people that are in this space. And we've shot out a few names. Andreas Antonopoulos, fantastic, definitely go-to guy. Trace Meyer. Who else? We'll put a few links in the. I promise, guys, we'll put a few links in the comments so you can come back and watch the replay, and we'll put some good resources for you.
Yeah, yeah, I think, you make a really good point, not listening to media, but not listening to your friends either, because what you'll find is suddenly everyone's an expert, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone's an expert in this space, and they, you say, do you know what Bitcoin is? And people say, oh yeah, I totally get it. I mean, you've been in the space a little bit longer than I have. I spend, a lot of time every day learning, as have you. And I still feel like, I'm just scratching the surface with it. So definitely put the effort into doing your own research. When your friend says, oh, it's going to go to zero, or it's a bubble that's going to burst, or there's no way this could
Yeah.
work, you have to just turn off that noise. I think that's a really important point to make. And when you start to, and that's why I love Andreas Antonopoulos, I'm a little obsessed with him, is because he paints the big picture in the best way that I've ever seen. And it just builds your belief and your buy-in to this for the long term so much. So yeah, so I would definitely encourage everyone, do your own homework. Don't listen to what other people are telling you. And certainly don't listen to people who don't have any money invested in it. That's what
Yeah.
I would say. So just kind of going on the urgency piece. So let's say, I'm like, yeah, I'm in, or I'm thinking about taking action. What would you say to those people who say that and then they sit on it for days or weeks or months?
Well, they're gonna miss out. There's not many times. How many times in a lifetime has such a big change happened? Like the internet is the last thing that happened, and it caused tremendous disruption, tremendous change, and many people profited from the internet. Those who were involved in the space one way or another. And I didn't take action when the internet came out. I was, in school, busy doing my own thing, and I didn't profit from it. So now this is a new disruptive technology that has global impact, and there's so many areas that you can be involved. If it's not with mining, it could be with other aspects as well. But it's just you want to be in this space, and if you're especially looking for a change, this could be it. This could be the space that's going to provide that change because it's uncharted territory. Of course, there's risk, right? I mean, there's it's never been used before, but the potential is there. So it's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to what's coming.
Yeah, me too. And, as the mass adoption takes place, like you were talking about, everything's going to stabilize. So in terms of actually profiting off of this, you're going to miss your chance. And in terms of the mining, I think you addressed this a little bit for people who are interested in getting into mining. It is important that they take action kind of soon and now, because the opportunity to join mining pools in terms of Bitcoin mining specifically are also going to decrease. And so with the company that Sean and I are involved in, not only are we mining Bitcoin, getting paid daily in the mining earnings, but as he was talking about, we have plans for retail adoption and collecting those transaction fees, and much more. And so you don't want to miss out on that long-term vision. If this is something you're even considering a little bit, I would encourage you to get in touch with one of us ASAP so that we can just help give you the right information that you need to make a good decision. And I won't talk numbers or anything, but this is not like a multi-$1,000 operation to get started, So, and if you wanted to mine at home, what do you need? It's like $6 million or something to pretty much have enough to do nothing.
Well, yeah, you're competing with people that have put a lot of investment in it. So, to mine on your own, you need to put a lot of capital. You need to calculate your electricity costs. You have to have a place to run that equipment. It's really a lot of headache, and not, most people won't even know where to start or how to handle that. So when you do it in a pool, you just basically, it's like mining for gold. Are you going to go into a cave and dig out your own gold? No, you're just going to put in a few dollars that will fund the picks, fund the manual labor, and whatever gold comes out, it'll be shared to you. So it's kind of like that analogy as well. So yeah, the timing is sensitive. I mean, the demand for the mining hardware is very high. I don't know if anybody on this call has ever gone down to their local hardware store and looked at the GPU aisle, but the graphics cards are all usually sold out. The aisles are always empty, and the graphics cards have tripled in price lately. So the video gamers are pretty upset about this trend because it's making their gameplay a little bit more expensive. So that's how you identify trends. If you go into a store and you see GPUs being sold out, there's a reason. So, and because of that high demand, it's harder and harder to get in. So eventually there won't be any more opportunities to get in, and you'll have missed that boat.
Totally. And, just being in the crypto space since last year, I've obviously seen a lot of not so good opportunities presented as good opportunities come up. So there are a lot of companies that say that they are mining and they're not. So can you maybe talk just a little bit about how to identify scams in this world? I mean, obviously I would recommend talking to one of us, but what would send your scam alerts off?
Right. Well, not to go too technical, but if you're looking to mine Bitcoin with an actual mining pool, there's two things you want to look at first. Can I visit the facilities, right? Can I see and touch the hardware? And second of all, since it's a global decentralized ledger, you should be able to see some sort of proof that the company is actually mining new Bitcoin, and that's called a blockchain explorer. So that's basically a website that you use to look over what's happening on that cryptocurrency network. So those are two good signs that you want to look for when you're looking for a mining pool. And I've been to Iceland twice. So our mining pool has data centers in China, Iceland. We're opening some up in Canada and soon to be in Montana. And I've actually gone to Iceland twice in the last 6 months. I've actually been into these data centers. We're talking about 45-acre facilities, from floor to ceiling, filled with computers that are running 24/7 to secure this global payment system. And we choose areas on the planet optimally so that we can keep our electricity costs low, so that it's clean, renewable energy, so that we're not harming the environment. It's naturally cool, so we don't have to pay for AC. So there's a reason why we choose these locations, and those are things that we'll educate and show you. So when you're looking to mine Bitcoin, those are some things you want to look at. Hey, can I actually go see these facilities? Do they actually exist? I know not everyone's going to book a flight across the world to see it for themselves, but I I took it upon myself to do it for you. So I've got documented footage that I've been in these data centers.
And I have from, he sent me this and I got that this week. So here's one of the old, burned out mining machines. So
Yeah, that's an older model. Yeah.
yes, that's awesome. Yeah, and I would also say there are companies that tend to offer, high rates of return and things like that. And I really like to think of mining as the long game, even though there's opportunity for kind of right now money in mining, but it really is playing kind of that long game, which I think is the best way to be. So it looks like we have a question. So Janet says, I understand there are different cryptocurrencies. Why are you choosing Bitcoin and not another currency?
Well, Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency, right? It was the first. Because it's open source software, anybody can create a new cryptocurrency. But the thing is, in order for people to want to use it, you need a network, right? You need to advertise it. You need funding for people to be able to acquire it. So Bitcoin has over $3 billion in venture capital invested already into it for startups. Like you might have noticed a Bitcoin ATM network around your place. And large Bitcoin exchanges have been created like Coinbase, Gemini, run by the Winklevoss twins, the twins from Facebook. You might have heard of these guys. So there's a lot of very powerful and rich people who've invested into Bitcoin. So why bet against them, right? You can buy other coins, but if you have to research them and find out if they have a use case and if they're actually going to provide value in the real world once the dust settles, because now everybody's launching their own coin. Everybody wants to be the next Bitcoin to make it rich fast. So, I don't really play that game. There is a lot of potential to make profits though because of that volatility. But in terms of a coin that's immutable, that's a lot of people are using, Bitcoin is right now the standard. So that's why we're focusing on that. But there's no problem learning about the other ones. It's a big space.
Right. And in terms of mining, you can mine some of the other bigger coins, but I don't know anything about mining, like coin 987 or something on CoinMarketCap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so and I agree. And I don't know. I haven't looked at the market cap today, but last I looked, maybe it was like 180 billion just in Bitcoin, something like that. So and it was higher than that. So yeah, I think this is a pretty exciting place to be in terms of even getting closest to mass adoption. I think there are some other very exciting ones like Ethereum and the capabilities, and it's created for different reasons. And so there's a lot of exciting stuff happening in this space. So it's a good question though. Does anybody else have questions? Maybe give it a second. Hopefully this answers a lot of questions, because I know when I start talking about mining, it sounds like either a lot of work or really confusing or really expensive, and I kind of wanted to just break down some of those barriers. But for me, the biggest thing I want people to take away from this is that urgency piece. This is not the kind of thing where you can sit around and you should ponder it for a couple of months. If you see the big picture, if you see the vision, if you see where this is going and that this is the future of the world, there's really nothing else to think about. You need to pull the trigger and get involved, because it is the people who take fast action that will be rewarded. That's my opinion. So I think you probably share the same opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm going to be focusing on this now full time, and just spreading the word, helping people create wallets, understand what these cryptocurrencies are. And as more and more people use it, that's what's great is that, hey, we're involved in an area that's new, and as more and more people start to use it and discover it, well, hey, the price actually going to go up a little bit once again because of supply and demand.
Hmm.
So uh, it's a very exciting time and a lot of possibility out here. And mining is definitely my favorite because hey, all you got to do is buy some equipment. It's all done for you anyways. Like we have the biggest, we have relationships with the biggest manufacturer of Bitcoin mining equipment on the planet. There isn't many people that are manufacturing this equipment, and we have pretty much a very friendly relationship with them. So we can buy a lot of equipment in bulk, which means it keeps the price low, right? If you buy a can of Coke down at the grocery store, you're going to pay full price. If you buy in bulk, you're going to pay much less. So we can pass those savings on to us as well. So a bright future for cryptocurrency mining and creating retail adoption. A lot of potential for wealth to be
Awesome.
created.
Yeah. We are getting a question on, I'm not sure if you want to answer these types of questions here. What's the minimum investment expected to be part of the pool?
Okay, so a typical device such as this will run you probably anywhere, like the latest model, probably around $5,000 just for one device. So if you're looking at mining on your own, you're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars just to get started. With our mining pool, you can get started for as low as $599. That'll give you a share in our data center so you can start collecting earnings, and there's no expected return because once you start breaking down the details of how cryptocurrency mining works, it's a lottery, right? The computers are solving a math problem, and the first computer.
Oh, we froze. Let's see what happens. Can everybody still hear me? So if you, looks like, oh yeah, he got disconnected. That's cool. Let me see here. I can probably reconnect, but let me just reply to him real quick. Okay, cool. So what he was saying is basically we don't make guarantees on returns because there are so many different variables that play into it. And it is kind of like a lottery. So, you know, there are tons of mining pools all over the world. Let me see. I'm trying to pull Sean back into this. And they're all competing against each other essentially to solve the math problems the fastest. And whoever does that is the one who gets the Bitcoin reward. And so there are, again, variables that kind of factor into that. It's actually saying I can't bring Sean on camera. Let's see, let's try again. And it's saying I can't. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But I will probably go ahead and wrap this up. I saw a question about price prediction, and nobody knows, right? It's very volatile. If you look at some of the kind of big gurus, they're saying it could easily be worth $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per Bitcoin by the end of this year, which isn't a far stretch considering we finished last year right at about $20,000 per Bitcoin. And you know what's going to happen is once more people are in the know, right, it drives the price up because again of that supply and demand. And I think I talked in another video about how every 4 years we actually have less Bitcoin being released per verified block. So there's a lot of factors playing into that, and I think it's working. Here we go. There we go. Perfect.
Don't know what happened there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I was trying to answer some of those variability questions. I don't know if you want to add anything to that or if you heard.
I believe so. So there's no guarantee in return, guys. Securing the network, transaction fees will vary. Depends how many people are using the Bitcoin, right? How many transactions are done. So there's a lot of variables involved. So there's no guaranteed ROI, but there is going to be a return because, hey, our computers are securing the network. We're going to be collecting block rewards and collecting those transaction fees. So we can't really get into the technical details of how Bitcoin mining works on this call. Like if you're interested on learning, we've got plenty of other material to share, or we could do side by sides and really show you, what is behind the scenes. But when you ask like what is it going to cost me to get started, Well, to get started on your own, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars because the equipment's very expensive. Your electricity is going to be expensive. But to join in a group, a pool, it's not going to cost you much. And there's an opportunity to build a network around it too. So we're talking about, minimum $5.99.
Yeah, which when you consider getting in early on, disruptive technology is a pretty good. I think it's a pretty good deal. So I was surprised when I
Yeah.
learned that as well. Awesome. Well, that was kind of it for my questions. If anybody else has questions, please post them. Or is there anything else that you wanted to share or get across?
Well, for me personally, Nicole, it's been a pleasure, getting to know you online. You're a wealth of information as well, and you're great at sharing information. So I'm looking forward to working with you and whoever else on this call that wants to work with us and take part in this, technological revolution, which is Bitcoin, blockchain, and see where it goes. So I'm just very excited for the future.
Yeah, I am as well. So we'll maybe share some things below. I think Jake actually posted the names that you were sharing already, which is awesome. Thanks, Jake. And if you guys have questions, just reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. Sean actually runs an amazing Facebook group where he kind of helps everyone stay up to date on what's going on, really educates people. So I'm sure we could get you in there as well. So reach out if you have anything for us. Thanks for tuning in. Got a lot of good viewership tonight, which is exciting. And I'm sure we'll do it again soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.